love the other person beside you, only then you are eligible to know God. You can't force manifestation with your own desperateness. But anything which you don't do consciously, it is our mechanicalness that is the biggest hindrance to our own growth.
Family is a zone where it's a crucial zone, and there's that particular zone where there comes a moment or situation where
at the right time I get the right book. That is how I could do my journey more effortlessly.
I'm Padmalata Varanasi. Welcome to PMC English. Today we have a great pyramid master with us, Mr. Srinivas Reddy Garu, founder of Swadhyaya Yoga. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us.
Namaste, madam.
Firstly, how did you get into this meditation?
Through Dr. Newton. He was the person who introduced me to this meditation, and especially Patriji. So this happened in the year 1995. So Dr. Newton and Dr. Lakshmi, they were studying in Kurnool Medical College. So I had to visit them regularly in Kurnool. So for the first time I met Patriji in 1995. It's on May 5th at Kurnool Pyramid Dhyana Kendram. So spirituality, my dad worked as a associative professor in Agriculture University. So throughout my childhood, I have seen I started observing my dad. He was a very voracious reader of all spiritual books, but I was not into it. But I know some spiritual authors he was always reading. Swami Sivananda books. Especially I remember he was reading a book called Bliss Divine. So those things were there like seeds in my childhood. But officially and professionally, what I can say is only after meeting Patriji, what made me to come into meditation is because I was also a technical guy. I did my mechanical engineering. So that scientific temperament, that is what I was looking into. So for the first time meeting Patriji and basically his style of functioning and his vocabulary, all scientific temperament, I think that is the thing which I have got attracted to. So basically I can say that the spirituality and this scientific thing, they are both complementary. That is what I could sense. But it took a long time for me, I had to dig a lot. So it took 25 years of my, more what I can say is research work. Now I can say now I can understand the alphabets of spirituality. So that much to know, one needs to spend lot of time in more of silence. And especially what I could say is spiritual journey or spiritual science is a long journey. So one has to get away with all small temptations or small pleasures. And if you start looking spiritual journey as a long journey, it's not a tired journey, but it's a long journey. It's not tired or not exhaustible journey. But what I could feel seeing my 25 years in this field says that spiritual journey or meditation journey is a long journey. That is not a short journey. That much I can say with clarity.
Okay, sir. So how are you related to Dr. Newton and Lakshmi ma'am?
Dr. Newton is my brother-in-law. Okay, and Dr. Lakshmi, she is my elder sister.
Oh, wow.
She had all kinds of this Avadutas satsangs in her childhood. So we were not into it, but especially she had that religious, some a bit of spiritual thing from her childhood. And what I can say, she was the first vegetarian whom we encountered in our family from literally childhood. She is a pure vegetarian from birth itself. She was a very special child in our entire family, and after meeting Newton, we got to know that there are so many books, and then finally, friendship with Patriji. Both of us, we used to go around Hyderabad to each and every bookstore. He used to pick up lot of books, and immediately, he used to take so many books, so many copies of each author, and that was not the end. He used to distribute those books to his friends. This was our daily routine in 96 to 98. That is how I got both Patriji's influence and Newton's influence was there on me.
Okay. So, sir, how many of your siblings do you have?
I have another elder brother, so one elder sister, Dr. Lakshmi, and have an elder brother, is Krishna. So, and I am the last one.
So, everyone in your family are into meditation, or?
Not Lakshmi is into meditation. My brother is not into meditation, but what I can say is they are pure vegetarians. Vegetarianism part, yeah, they are practically vegetarians, but I don't see they meditating regularly or what. But yeah, they are more practical people rather than they want to live in a very known zone. They don't want to explore that unknown areas. But Lakshmi and Newton, they are completely dedicated now.
Yes.
So that's it. And my father still reads lot of books. He is a very voracious reader. He is not into one set of thing, but he reads different varieties. And my mother, she is a very kind person. She is also pure vegetarian.
Okay, so once you met Patriji and came to know about this meditation, and you turned into a vegetarian, or earlier also you were a vegetarian?
Earlier I was not a vegetarian. Only after this pyramid impact on me, we didn't take it so seriously, but environment makes more difference. What I believe in is we never had the opportunity of sitting with non-veg people anymore. So we were moving with all vegetarians. So we didn't take that seriously, but it was just dropped. There's no willpower in it, but it just happened.
Okay. So, sir, is becoming a vegetarian necessary for a person?
Vegetarian, I don't force people to become vegetarians, but I believe in we can educate people on vegetarianism. That I like it. But for me, three things are important. We need to think vegetarian. We need to have a very vegetarian emotional body. Then we don't have to think about our physical eating habits of anything. We automatically become vegetarian. So if it happens very systematically and naturally, it is more permanent. With force, I don't see more of results. It's not a force. It should come out from inside. Then it is a pure necessary. If at all any individual wants to grow and they want to see the improvement in their life, yeah, it contributes a lot.
So, sir, you are into this meditation from the year 1995. So, you are a very senior master. And in one of our Osho book, I have read that one point, vegetarianism is a byproduct of meditation. So, can you please explain about that?
That is what I mean to say is if we take care of all causes which meditation does, then whatever the results or effects you want to see in life, it happens. And most of the non-essentials, they get dropped from your physical activities. So that is how systematic you are, how regular you are in your meditation is rather more important. then what happens is the result part, the effects part of meditation, all the non-essentials, not only this non-vegetarian, you can never even think negatively. Like, you can't even stay in a negative environment also. So all non-essentials will be dropped out of your life. You don't have to worry about specific habits to drop. All non-essential things which are not anymore helps you for your growth will be dropped out. If people practice meditation regularly, consistently, and there should be a continuity in their meditation practice. And that practice needs to be not be seeing more of results, just taking care of the causes. Then if at all we have that understanding of what needs to be done daily for the entire energy spectrum, then results will be taken care of. Not worried about results or not to force results, it won't see permanent results. So anything which can be done naturally, meditation, you understand the process more naturally, then all effects or all results which are of no more use to you will be dropped out.
Okay. So these days we come to know, we are seeing many things, we are listening about many things like law of attraction, law of creation, all these things. So is there any difference? We want to know more about that.
Yeah, with regular meditation, we can understand. What I mean to say is, we need to see both spirituality and science as both complementary. Okay, it's not complementing; both are complementary. If you literally study the Taoistic sign Yin Yang, you will understand. There are 7 things you can read and understand meditation so thoroughly, and scientific spirituality. That is the term we need to understand. The first thing is, all outer things science explains, okay, that is always there, and all inner things spirituality makes you know everything with going inside. So both this outer and inner needs to be balanced. That is what scientific spirituality is. That is the first principle. And second thing is, all science makes you more impersonal, okay, and all spirituality is your personal journey, okay. That thing we need to balance, and there should not be any fluctuations between these 2 areas, both inner and outer, impersonal and personal. Then the third thing comes is, either people do more of thinking about meditation, they never feel about meditation, or we can see a lot of people feeling meditation but they never think about meditation. Okay, that needs to be balanced. That is the third point. The first thing is inner and outer. Second thing is personal and impersonal. And third thing, as what I said, is this point. Feeling is important. Sensitivity is more important rather than thinking about meditation. People needs to do the feeling part. That is where the role of the heart is. And most of the people, they take meditation to the mind. They always think about meditation, and that never helps. Okay. And the fourth thing is, more verbal. You can't verbalize, and meditation is about experiential. You need to experience it or experiment with meditation. That is the fourth point. And the fifth point is, you can see lot of people explaining about meditation. We need to do contemplation about meditation. Okay, and and the most final important thing is empirical. You can't say anything about invisible things from the visible point of view or physical aspect of view. You need to transcend mind. Only then you experience what that energy zone is all about, how energy comes to you. Okay, all these things, one needs to understand and balance. Then and only then you see the scientific part in the meditation process. And these are all there. We need to understand from the complete literature of spiritual literature. All these principles, all these laws, all these principles, one needs to explain and say, mentally people, are we functioning from our likes or dislikes, they are not aware of, and they talk about attraction and repulsion. Okay, and people want only their likes to get attracted to, and they are not ready to repel anything which is unessential in them. So that is a law. Essential and repulsion is how your mind works. Unless and until your mechanicalness is repelled, that consciousness part you won't attract. So is a law in the mind, attraction and repulsion. And manifestation and actualization, most of the negative things actualize faster than positive things. That is how we need to understand what manifestation is. You can't force manifestation with your own desperateness. Unless and until you are in that silent zone or in that stillness, automatically you will understand what manifestation things are happening, in what patterns or the cycles. All these things one needs to experience more.
So it's like energy flows where attention goes.
Energy follows thought.
So it can be anything,
Anything.
miraculous or disastrous.
Anything.
whatever.
That is what like we come to know is like, every human being, every individual who has that scientific temper, the initial stage we need to work out with our own mechanical things. That mechanical things, if at all we can understand, then everything is consciousness. So get rid of that mechanicalness. We have so many synonyms regarding that, like people speak about subconscious mind or shadow work, anything, but anything which you don't do consciously, it is our mechanicalness that is the biggest hindrance to our own growth. So work out on your own mechanicalness, how mechanically we think, how mechanically we use our senses, or how mechanically we interact with others will not help you out. They are all the energy vampires which are there within us. Now in the initial stage people need to work out with that mechanicalness, that can be in the mental body or the emotional issues or physical issues. It takes hardly 20 to 30 days for any individual, but more people nowadays, they are more spaced out. They are more interested in metaphysical issues rather than being more practical. So these two things are very polarized in our spiritual life. We need to be more scientific because physical life is also important. Then we need to study that space science, space chemistry and space physics, breath being the bridge. So that makes spirituality more interesting rather than being more spaced out, thinking about talking to entities. It is good, but how far you take information from the real conscious entities and practically become conscious in your physical life, it matters more. Like even Jesus says, love the other person beside you, only then you are eligible to know God. And what we can see is we talk more about Christ consciousness or Krishna consciousness or Buddha consciousness, but see the entire society as enemy to you, it won't help. So we need to be more practical. We need to understand space living in the body.
So, sir, you mentioned that mechanical thinking or mechanical behavior. So, some people they say, oh, it's 9 o'clock, I need to have a coffee. Oh, it's 12 o'clock, I need to have a lunch. Irrespective of are they feeling the hunger or not, they don't listen to their body, but just they follow the time. It's 3 o'clock, I need to sleep. It's 6 o'clock, I need to have a tea.
Absolutely.
So this is what the mechanical patterns they have. So they need to introspect that and they should get rid of that. Firstly,
before meditation, habits and mind uses us, but after meditation, the slow change within us, gradient change within us will be we'll be using our mind and we'll be conscious of our habits. That is the change. That is a more permanent change. That change needs to be inquired by the individual who is interested in his own life.
Okay. So in recent Patriji's videos, I was awestruck with one of the point which sir mentioned, that when he came to know about meditation, he just left everything which is anityaha. Everything. It can be body, family, everything he left it. So why are we lagging in that? What's the difference? How can we come out of our anityaha?
The basic first fundamental thing about meditation process itself is meditation is all about detachments. Okay, it never makes us anybody. You sit in America or you sit anywhere in the world. If you do meditation, like more scientific meditation, the end product will be, it will be giving you more of detachment. Okay, because meditation is like, is complete observation science. Okay, once you do any observation inside or outside, it creates a space between the object and you. It means like it is creating a lot of detachment. You are not again be hooked to the object. If you don't do meditation and you think that in your vanity that you are doing meditation, you superimpose yourself, you don't do meditation because you never put that question to yourself. Because always your question answer session will be like, outside questions, that mind which is oriented towards outside will be answering. Okay, now like, for people needs to see the conditioning of their mind, especially if they agree that okay, my mind is conditioned with so much of society, with so much of parenting or n number of factors. Now it's up to you for you to decondition or keep that conditioned mind as it is. You get fed up with that, nobody feels comfortable with that conditioned mind. Now what is the step remain? You need to decondition it. And most of the people, they go rebellious and decondition it. Okay. Now the third thing is like, after deconditioning, you need to recondition with new habits. That third thing people never do it.
Why is that happening?
Why is it happening? Because you are over identified with the objects in your life.
We can say ego, a regular word,
Like,
a false identity.
I don't call it as false identity. It is like, temporary structure which always sees into results. Okay, that is what ego does. It is a very vicious pattern. Okay, very vicious pattern where you don't know what is happening. And entirely spirituality is something different. Decondition it and only focus on the causes. That shift needs to happen. That shift will happen once you start slowly taking care of what are all the thought forms you are attached with. That is the area you need to work. You start observing your every thought form. Then you get spaced out and you get a different space between the thought form and you. Then you see it as a result. And you see that it won't overrule you. Then you start controlling your mind thoughts.
So by this, what I understood is that we need to do lot of introspection and we should be aware of all our thoughts. That means introspection.
Introspection is like, that is what I am saying, like, again there are two types of introspections. Like, self introspection is very good. And like, you get interrogated with others, people don't like it in a very long run. You see a lot of people in your life, they question you a lot. Because that is what we need to understand, that once we understand ourselves, then it will help us to make people understand themselves. Because everybody in our life are the reflection of ours. And once we don't understand our own core, and it's no point in for what kind of subpersonality we are helping in our lives. That is a major point. Observing ourselves or introspecting ourselves in the initial stage, what we call it as you getting ready for the journey.
Okay.
And like, how much we are prepared, how much ready we are for our more growth in our life, it always, our intuition always guides us. And it's not a like, momentary thing. It's like even spontaneous things gives you lot of insights in your meditation life. That is what we need to catch. And you can observe any teacher, like, they are more spontaneous. And that spontaneous nature is what we need to acquainted with. Like all other things, like, my thought forms or my habits, they are already structurized in you. Like, are you ready for that restructuring happening within you? You need to allow it.
Allowing is very important.
Allowing is more important. If you observe a lot of people, they allow everything to settle down, but they don't accept. Okay. Even I was interviewing a spiritual scientist. So he gave us a very deep book called Going Deeper. That was named as the best book, spiritual book. Like, I asked him, so this book is so huge. Now tell me the essence of these 3 books. Then he gave me 3 A's. Like, all entire meditation journey or spiritual journey, 3 A's are important. First thing is like, can you accept totally who you are? I start meditation, but in the middle I reject myself and I reject my journey. Okay, because I don't have the holistic map of my journey. Okay, that is where the real introspection need to come. So we need to have like, gradient acceptance. Slowly the journey, we need to accept more of ourselves. That is the first point. And second point is like, how much you appreciate yourself. You go anywhere, like, you do journey with any human being, like, you see 50% of appreciation and 50% of always, like, self criticism has become a major thing. Like, you don't have any person, because nobody is ready to take the criticism, harsh words from you, you start criticizing yourself or hating yourself. Okay, and third thing is, you need to allow things to settle down. And we have become more desperate. When you want to make all people to come into meditation, you become more desperate. That is not a spiritual approach. Spiritual approach is basically, you need to have that balance in your life, your outlook. Then you approach people, then they feel your approach to be more balanced, and they'll be ready. Not because I want them to in meditation, they won't sit in meditation. That is why, like, if students are ready, meditation technique or the right book will come to the right student. Always it happens. That is what is law of attraction is.
Okay. So, sir, what do you think about this? Apart from meditation, is book reading and listening to others' experiences, all these things are necessary. How they help in meditation?
Meditation is listening inside. Okay. Then what happens in Sajjana Sangatyam or listening to experiences is like, you connect with their non-visible aspect and you listen to that part. That is what is Sajjana Sangatyam. Don't listen to the personality issues of the people and say that you are doing Sajjana Sangatyam. Okay. Sajjana Sangatyam is like, it gives you like, solid scientific evidence that you have like, perfected in your art of listening. Meditation is listening and Sajjana Sangatyam is listening. Both are equal. And the second thing, book reading is like, the book reading, like, you can practice the art of seeing the meaning part in every book. A author writes a book or writes so many books. The book reading will not only, like, you don't see the physical sentences what he has written, but you get tuned into the meaning part behind the paragraph or the chapter. Once you get acquainted or like start seeing things in a meaningful world, then your mind will have a direction. So what I say is, meditation or book reading or Sajjana Sangatyam, they are all equals. I don't see it as 1, 2, 3. I see like meditation is equal to Sajjana Sangatyam, is equal to Swadhyaya. That equality is what the journey has 3 pillars. There are 3 pillars which are of equal height. One is not more or one is not less. And like, what I can feel is like, you can't see these 3 pillars with your inner critic on. Okay, so even in my life, 25 years of this journey, a lot of people, they don't like Swadhyaya. They think that only sitting, closing eyes, they are meditators. Like, even book reading is meditation. If you are present, mentally, emotionally, physically aligned while reading that book, that itself is meditation. And talking to people, like, are we like talking with our mind wandering somewhere, but physically I am here? That is not Sajjana Sangatyam. Talk to the hearts of the people. That makes Sajjana Sangatyam. You learn more of things. You are bodily present here, but mentally absent. I don't call it as scientific Sajjana Sangatyam. So you understand these 3 principles. I see 3 things are more equal, more proportionate, like, 33%, 33%, 33%. Finally, like, you can see the overall growth inside you.
Wow, that's great. And recently I have read a book, Jesus and Buddha book by Gary R. Renard. In that, in one of the lifetimes of Buddha, the final lifetime, Buddha states one quote actually. Not just meditation will give you enlightenment. He states that. So what do you say about that? You need to forgive the things. He says that. So what is your viewpoint on that particular?
Forgiveness is more scientific word, like people made it more religious. Once you forgive, what happens is your mind frequency increases. Again, you won't tune into the lower frequencies. The vibratory rate of your brain or mind level increases if you forgive a lot of, especially about past incidents or past memories. So there is a more of science into it, like forgiveness is rather more important. It's a science. Forgiveness, it helps every individual, and we can see lot of people can't do because they don't understand the karmic strings attached to it. So start seeing causes, and the importance of science of forgiveness. I gave one book interview day before yesterday. That book also emphasized more of forgiveness, energy teachings of the three. Forgiveness, it increases your vibratory rate so that you don't fall into the past things. So there is science behind that. So as Patri sir doesn't like that word forgiveness, so he is into the word called forgetting. Same thing, same mechanism. Self forgetting is you don't fall into your personality issues, stay at your soul level, so forget whatever happened in the past, be in the present, is what he means to say. The same thing happens with forgiveness.
So if we forgive, it should be actually to the core, that we should become zero, neutral, when even though we meet that person or we encounter that particular situation. It should be neutral from mental point of view. That's what forgiveness means, right?
You don't fall into the result, again see through the eyes of the results. Forgiveness, you see the cause. Because we talk about reincarnation and karma, what happens is you see the cause, why they have behaved with you, that was the result, and you see the cause of that, and you don't get over identified with the result. Because you forgive them, you don't see the results and you see the cause, and you become fresh again. You regenerate yourself. Otherwise what happens is, without forgiveness, you degenerate yourself more.
It's like becoming innocent, like a kid.
Yeah, that is the right word. You are not anymore ignorant, but you are innocent. Both are different things.
So sir, we have so many social gatherings in our pyramid spiritual societies happening around the year, many dhyana mahachakrams or whatever, at many other places. So what do you think about this social gathering? What actually happens during this?
All social gatherings which help people to go vertically, they are the need of the hour. Because the ancient old day approach was only your self realization and self growth. Now the coming future, it needs to happen in a group. Even you take all sacred teachings of the world or scientific teachings, even all Buddha teachings also, we need to be more interested in the group upliftment. So only in group upliftment you can see that Buddha consciousness. You can never see the Buddha consciousness in an individual in the future. You will see that Buddha's consciousness or Shiva consciousness or whatever you are, it's not about location. You can see that consciousness in a particular group in coming years. That is what is about future. And people needs to go really vertically more, rather than seeing things more horizontally, not the quantity thing of how many followers we have, but how many regular people who are sitting in meditation and vegetarians. That is rather more important.
So you are with Patriji from the year 1995. So you are one of the senior most master, we can say that. So what do you say more about Patriji, which we don't know?
How I see him is the spiritual hard work or the spiritual labor which he has been doing from the past 25 years, that if at all I see that, it looks very amazing. There's a very unique quality. I have never seen any such kind of individual anywhere. One needs to really learn, how the real dedication, how passionate he is, and what I can say in one word is spiritual hard work and spiritual labor. So one needs to learn that from him. So that striving part, because I've seen him in all phases, but even every time, like, the enthusiasm he carries inside himself, that makes him a very unique person. So I don't see Patri sir from my book reading eyes, or like with a lens of book reading. Every time I see him, like, he wants to upgrade, like, he wants to know what latest things are happening in the spiritual literature zone also. Even that thing is very unique. Still he reads lot of new books whenever he comes, like, he'll ask me, like, what are the latest things. And I like how he chooses books, like anything more full of essence, which will fit him, and he upgrades himself. Even still today, he finds a new book, he'll be reading throughout the night and completes that book. That interest, like, it's not a thing, like, he never looked to me like, he was aiming at some specialization. Like, he always tried to synthesize himself. He wants to become more inclusive. That thing is more unique in him. And the second thing, everyone needs to learn, especially myself, like, he never gets bothered, or like, he never take the society and worries about that. He never bothers about that social conditioning thing. That never touches him. That thing we need to learn if at all we want to follow him. Like, he never puts his nose into unnecessary things, and that is very hard to learn, because sometimes we try to act as if we are more sacred, but he is a more scientific man with that sacred uniqueness inside him. Both the things, like, he always upgrades himself, and I don't see anybody, like, that amount of spiritual labor, like, I don't say it as traveling or that, but keeping up that temperament for 30 years is amazing for me. That is what I look into him, like, it's very unique thing. One needs to learn that, because I was also running one thing called Svadhyaya Yoga. Every 3-4 years I fall into a thing called, like, more depression, or like, why we have to do all these things, such kind of things surfaces. But I really don't know how he keeps up this enthusiasm level, or his way of doing that spiritual labor. Never ever I have seen, like, he complaining about the results. And third thing, what, like, he enjoys more problems.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
he wants always to test his own willpower. That thing, like, it's amazing. That is why, like, all book reading in my life is something else, and I see more practical issues in the group with a leader called Patri sir. Like, he, like, he holds that flag, and is still, like, young person. He goes on traveling. That is really amazing. So I didn't learn any enlightenment from him, but, like, that spiritual labor, if at all one needs to do something to this world, is that we need more youth to learn that from him, like, do some spiritual labor, so that it may be helpful for the humanity.
So, sir, earlier you told me that, meditation is equals to Swadhyaya is equals to Sajjan Sangacha. Can we take Patriji as an example for that?
Yeah, but the three principles are always there, like, that holistic approach, and we need to take the understanding along with meditation. So we can see a lot of people, they are not into understanding laws or principles. We need to, like, as I have seen the Pyramid Spiritual Society growing, so I know Patri sir and his approach, like, foundations are important, then the building needs to be raised. And most of the people who see the building part, they don't see the foundation part. That creates so much of cleavages. So I request all people to give some time, pause at least, and see the foundation aspects. Then most of the things will be resolved. That is what I feel, like, initially he used to say a concept for us from a Zen book. Always in the spiritual journey there are 3 phases or 3 stages. First stage will be, like, mountains are mountains, or rivers are rivers. That is from 1990 to 2000 we have seen that phase. Like, wherever you go, we tell people about meditation, they used to listen. Then from 2004 to 2012 especially, that part was, like, mountains were rivers and rivers were mountains, like more of attack, and like they used to ask more of scientific evidences why to be vegetarians. That phase we have seen, and most of the people, the dropouts were that time period. Again from 2012-13, again we can see now, especially now, okay, that mountains are mountains again and rivers are rivers. But the difference between first phase and third phase is a shift in understanding. You got the point?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now more people will come in the first phase. Now you need to be more patient with your own meditation and other people, so that they undergo these three phases. And every organization has these three phases. Everything will be quite good sometimes, and especially a time of troublemakers and trouble things come, we'll see the real nature coming out of every person. That is what second phase is all about. And that is what you can see in every spiritual scientist autobiography. You see Osho Rajneesh, you can see Swami Rama, anybody. These three phases are what the essence of their journey is.
So this reminds me of one of the point that in one of the book, liberation lies in not in your action but in your reaction.
Absolutely. You become more responsible. And these things, like if the real core people understand, and easy to become the torch bearer. That's the thing. A little bit of understanding. Understanding is stand under meditation for every day for half an hour or whatever time you can be. Then you understand the meditation process, then you are a free bird. Then you become a student of Richard Bach also.
So no matter how many years of meditation we do, how much ever senior we say, we need to balance all the three things: Dhyanam, Swadhyayam, and Sajjana Sangachya. Definitely we need to balance all the three things.
Balance is what we need to learn from entire real Buddha teachings. That equilibrium, that balance, and that mental balance is rather important. Mental balance in spiritual path is a very fundamental aspect. That is what middle path is all about.
Okay, and we want to know about Swarnamala Patri ma'am from you.
Yeah, that is what I said. What I have seen them in all these three phases, undergoing these three phases. So it's good, at least there is a model for every family, the amount of sacrifices one needs to do. If at all we believe in those principles, then the entire family needs to be that sacrificial. Then only then we can say it as a meditation family. So that sacrifice, you like or you don't like, the sacrifice is a must. Then and only then people will take you as a role model. And again, after that, role to soul. So from that role we play in the family, we need to become souls. Otherwise it's very difficult, because family thing most of the people bypass. And family responsibilities and family duties needs to be understood. That even family consciousness has a major role in every master's life.
Okay, so being in the family, no strings attached. You should, you should be not that emotionally attached. How we can do that?
Yeah, we need to keep up our own way of being yourself, and we should be knowing how to inspire ourselves. Our all micro things, our all micro habits, all makes more of difference, madam. Otherwise, the pressure will be built. So all things are one. So for this, we don't have to see everything as separate. Everything is more interdependent. Group consciousness, group needs to be flourished only once you flourish in the family, or vice versa. And family is also part of your entire life. So madam, she is more of a daring woman. She is a very daring, courageous woman, and more emotional. She is more supportive. Nowadays she is more supportive. And all the three, even children, and even Patri sir, he loves his family, but he never shows and never verbalizes, because he is completely spiritual or scientific man.
Because family is a zone where it's a crucial zone, and there's that particular zone where there comes a moment or situation where we get carried away. So You know, it's one of the toughest environment to handle with.
That is what I say. I always feel like, I see Pyramid Spiritual Society a big laboratory. So I see different kind of people, but I keep I try to be more conscious of that, what kind of sub personalities are there. So I see entire group as more scientific eyes. So what happens is, any time throughout my 20 years of journey, any given moment of time, any more prioritized question I do carry inside me, at the right time I get the right book. That is how I could do my journey more effortlessly. And it happens very effortlessly. I don't even try more desperately to get books. It happens. Yeah, Patri ma'am, these are all they need to carry their torch into more future. I don't feel like commenting about the past or present. So any work people they promise, we can see that in the coming future. So I am more future oriented rather than present or past. Future is rather more important.
So 10 years down the line, how will you see the future, or what?
Now I can authentically say that people need to understand this word called scientific spirituality or spiritual science. That is going to be the key word. And whatever you call it as meditation or mindfulness meditation, that meditation is being the core, and scientific spirituality being the path. And people, they can find their destiny with these two things. Scientific temper is going to be there more, role of science being the complementary of spirituality. Now we can see that wave being increased. There will be not like an east approach or west approach. There will be an approach called scientific spirituality. We need to be that is what I said. It's we can't be more verbal. We need to more be experiential. Western people, they are more their orientation is about let us experiment, and we are more verbal. We do more of explanation. And spiritual science meditation is about being accurate. That accurate wisdom is what people are looking into. That accuracy comes from your scientific temperament. And coming days, there's nothing like zigzag path. There will be a nice highway because of spiritual science, and less of speed breakers. That is how we can see the future. And this will be until year 3000. This is a 1000-year plan needs to be executed in different phases. Year 3000, either we call it as Satya Yuga or we call it as Pyramid Yuga, anything will be fine, but Yuga will be more people aligned with their own source, we can see. More critical mass into spiritual path, into aligned with the nature, and especially politics needs to be have that holistic approach. We need more of spiritual politics coming into earth plane. We need to see one currency throughout the world, and there will be one religion called scientific religion, spiritual religion, and no more borders between each and every country.
Is this because of the dimension shift? Can we say that?
That is what I am saying. Earth will be progressing always. We need to be in tune with that. Earth goes into the fifth dimension or fifth class, then we need to be in the fifth class. Earth is evolving, the whole existence is evolving, but we are stuck in second class. That creates lot of problems. We need to show that improvement in our entire holistic approach, visible as well as physical.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us. And we have learned so many things from you, many insights, many inputs. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving your valuable time.